Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Ashtatyadeshatarivi Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Dinamini Srivarshabhanavi Devi Vaipavakapani Krishna Sambandha Vijnana
Today, I'll promise you one thing, that we will reverse your diabetes. We have done it for more.
Padambujayate namaha namo bhakti vinodaya Satchidananda namini Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gauravirbhava Bhumishnu Nirdeshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannatayate namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Dude, hello, Pranamataji. What are you seeing in the screen now?
Prabhupada's picture.
Okay, you are able to see.
To our founder Acharya. Session 9.
I have to get that screen. I don't know. I'm not getting that screen. Just a moment. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I am not to play. It's to. Is your screen changing now?
No, Prabhuji.
No, Prabhuji. The same Prabhupada's picture is there.
Okay. Now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Now it's
Yes, Prabhuji. It's changed to Radha Krishna's picture.
okay. Now it's. Hare Krishna. Now it's okay, no?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. It's fine.
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So, warm welcome to all devotees. Now we are in a very interesting part of our story. Things are speeding up like the Chinese bamboo. The first 7 years, the Chinese bamboo, you plant and it doesn't grow at all. It remains under the ground. First 7 years, day after day, day after day, day after day, you have to water it, but nothing will come out. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. And suddenly it starts shooting out of the ground, growing 14 feet in 1 day. Like that it grows. So we know something is happening under the ground. Like that, the Supreme Lord, whatever his plans were, Srila Prabhupada had to struggle till he was 71 years old without practically any results. But now the results are beginning to flow. And as devotees of Srila Prabhupada, we are all extremely happy to see what is happening. So this amazing unfolding of the Supreme Lord's pastimes in connection with a pure devotee. So we are all going to be witness to that. So in this week, the caption is going beyond the lower east side. We know Srila Prabhupada first came to, first after going to Boston, then Buttle, Pennsylvania, then Prabhupada came to New York, and first of all, he settled down in the Bowery. First, he was in Ramurthy Mishra's place in the uptown New York. Then from uptown, he shifted to downtown New York in Bowery. He was staying in a loft. Then subsequently, Michael Grant and Carl Yergan, they found a place for him in 26 Second Avenue, a storefront, which was named as Matchless Gifts. That place they found for him. So the storefront would become his temple, and 2 floors above, he had an apartment where he would stay, residential quarters, which was also his place of work and place of worship, and the kitchen, everything was there. Prabhupada would come down every day for taking classes. So even now he's in the same 26 Second Avenue, but things are now sort of exploding. We are going to be seeing that now. So the popularity of Hare Krishnas is increasing by leaps and bounds. And Hayagriva Prabhu, he called it as Hare Krishna explosion. It was happening where? In Lower East Side. Not in all over New York. It is happening in the Lower East Side part of New York. But everybody considered Lower East Side as the most happening place, because that was a place where many young people were there, and they were all very active, very creative, and every day they were producing newer kinds of musics, records were coming out. So like that, it was a very, very happening place. And in that place, Hare Krishna was gaining popularity. In the local park, Tompkins Square Park, they were holding regular kirtan as inspired by Srila Prabhupada. And every time they have these programs, there was ample news coverage. Even New York Times was covering them, and the local, the village other, like that, there was a local newspaper that was also covering them. So whatever was happening in the temple means 26 Second Avenue, the classes, the kirtans, people were becoming very much favorable towards that. And even though that place was dominated by the hippies, who were basically people who had rejected their parents, who belonged to the affluent middle class society, but they had rejected their way of life as most duplicitous, hypocritical, meaningless, shallow. They had rejected them and come to this part of New York, where rents were cheap and they were doing their own thing, experiencing a certain sense of freedom, but simultaneously looking for truth. What is this life? What is the meaning of this life? There must be something beyond what our parents are trying to enjoy with that thing. But they did not know really what it was. So they were experimenting with drugs and music and free sex, and these were the only things they knew. So these hippies, they developed an attraction towards the devotees of Srila Prabhupada, even though there is nothing common between them. You see, Prabhupada's disciples were hippies a few months back, maybe even 1 month, 2 months back. Even now, they are looking like hippies only. Many of them are still sporting long hair, wearing jeans and open-necked t-shirts, typical. They were looking like them. But after initiation, they were all wearing the beads around their neck like a garland. Mukunda Prabhu started this practice and everybody followed. It was all red beads. I don't know what material it was, whether it was wood or some kind of a plastic, I don't know. They themselves made those malas, and Prabhupada chanted on them and gave it back to them for regular daily chanting. This mala they were wearing around their neck. That differentiated them from the hippies by external appearance. But internally, they had completely changed. No meat eating, whereas hippies are given to meat eating. No illicit sex for the devotees of Srila Prabhupada, but here illicit sex is the thing by which they are living. And they have music which is devoid of God, but here music means everything is used to be in the service of Krishna only. So no gambling, all these things. Very austere life. Hippies sometimes don't take bath for months, but these devotees are taking bath twice a day. And hippies will keep awake all night and they sleep all day. But devotees are up at 6:30. After taking bath, they are joining the kirtan at that time. But still, the hippies were getting strongly attracted towards the devotees. So the hippies started visiting the temple. They started having loving interactions with the devotees of the temple, knowing that these are good people and they love us and they want to help us and they are favorable to us. They are not looking down upon us in a condescending way. Rather, they have love and compassion for us. So relationships were growing. So they thought the devotees as angelic people, messengers of God. They are very gentle people. They don't blame us. They don't criticize us. Anytime we want, we can go to the temple. If they have some prasadam, they will give us. If we go at the right time, we will get free prasadam in the temple. And if we have no place to stay, if we tell in the temple we want to sleep, they will allow us to sleep in the temple. We can take bath in the temple. We can have prasadam in the temple. So the temple is always open for them. And the devotees, knowing the mood of Srila Prabhupada, they welcomed everyone. Anytime they would come. So the hippies, there is so much favorable publicity among the hippies. So naturally, the media, the radio, the newspapers, everyone covered the temple very favorably. And then the devotees, after talking to Srila Prabhupada, they thought, why not we have some special feasts on the holidays, on Sundays? And Kirtanananda named it as Love Feast. Love Feast. Prema, celebrating Prema. So it's a very appropriate title. So they advertised it. They sent out handouts and all that. Advertising a love feast at the temple on Sunday afternoon, free. So they made all these dishes that Srila Prabhupada has taught them. Fancy rice they used to call. Rice where they put cheese balls also. It's a little sweetish. They make that rice. Then they have other fried rice. Then they have rotis or puris. And they have 2-3 sabjis, including paneer sabjis, dal, and all very fragrant, very tasteful. And on top of everything, they have the ISKCON bullets. ISKCON bullets are basically gulab jamuns, the larger gulab jamuns, which Prabhupada knew that these devotees like it so much. So Prabhupada said, make abundant of these ISKCON bullets and keep them in bottles filled with sugar syrup. So anytime devotees want, they can take any number they want. So that ISKCON bullet is supposed to be a very powerful weapon against Maya. By taking ISKCON bullets, people were able to remain loyal to Krishna and to Srila Prabhupada. So this love feast started. And in love feast, initially, not much crowd, not sufficient publicity. People were not coming. Some hippies you already knew they would come. But the devotees were not disappointed. Why? Because they are ready to gobble up everything. Whatever is not spent, they are very happily eating, they are enjoying. Basically, you should remember the devotees are accepting a very austere life after coming to Srila Prabhupada. Waking up very early in the morning and giving up all the habits, what they were accustomed to in the past, and becoming centered on Krishna. And always, instead of focusing on sense enjoyment, they are now focusing on service. So very austere life. So when the love feast comes, they have an opportunity to enjoy a very opulent feast. The rest of the week, they prepare simple prasadam only. The rest of the week. Only this time. So the devotees, we cannot blame them for going overboard on prasadam. But very soon the devotees realized that Prabhupada has given us such a great gift. Now Prabhupada wants to share it with the world. Now we should help him to do that. We should somehow bring more and more people for this love feast. And the crowd started growing because publicity was going around that there is very good prasadam, vegetarian prasadam given absolutely free. And then 70, 80 people also started coming for the feast, Sunday feast, including the parents of some of the devotees. They would also turn up, the friends would turn up, and by word of mouth of the hippies, more people would come, and everyone enjoyed. The crowd will spill over from the temple hall. And this temple has a very unique feature, which the Sasru Goswami Maharaj says, usually you won't find in other such buildings in New York, in this part of New York. That is, there are 2 buildings. Prabhupada is on a smaller building, Prabhupada's quarters and the temple. There is also a bigger building. There is a small space in between, which you can call it as a courtyard. And in the courtyard, there are trees, there are bushes, there are bird baths, where birds will come and drink and bath like that. So there's a nice open space. So the devotees will spill over into that place and they will take prasadam there. And when they have finished eating, they can come back for more. Nobody will say, that's all. It's not limited, it's unlimited. So this was also becoming popular. So the ISKCON 26 Second Avenue was becoming more and more popular in Lower East Side. And basically, we already heard the hippies who live here, the people who live here are mostly musicians. They play in the various clubs, in the nightclubs and all that, they will make music along with the band. So during the day, they will be preparing their music, planning, improvising. And what started happening in this music, somehow the temple music started coming in. So the musicians, because during the morning, evening, they are sitting in the temple and listening to the kirtan, and it is making an impact on their consciousness. They find it so peaceful. They find it so elevating. They find it so spiritualizing. So these people who are making music, which is basically loud music, unbelievably loud music, because please understand, hippies are making a statement. Hippies, by not taking bath, by rejecting the materialistic life, by accepting an austere, simple life, by rejecting all the rules of the establishment, rather breaking all the rules of the establishment, sleeping on the streets, even though they have comfortable homes, rejecting their parents and simply living by themselves, they are making a statement. Basically, they are rejecting. So what they are doing, they are putting all that hatred into their music, rejecting the establishment, which is sitting heavily on the head of everybody, because these boys are also afraid. Anytime they'll be drafted into the war. There is a war going on in Vietnam, unnecessary war started by the American president. There are so many wars Americans start even till today, unnecessarily. So that was also a war unnecessarily started in Vietnam. And they wanted the young boys above 18, 20 to be drafted. And they were afraid. They hated the war and they did not want to be drafted. They were afraid because many of the friends were going and coming back dead. They are not trained to war. So all this anger and hatred they were putting into the music. So naturally the music was very explosive, noisy. They used to call it rock music. And Satsvarup Maharaj explains in one place, they will open the piano box and they will take two hammers and they will hit the strings with a hammer. And that is how they make music. Same with their guitars. They make such rough music. But somehow the temple music started blending with that. So outside there'll be a loud music, but as an undercurrent, there'll be the music from the temple. Either it may be the tune of Hare Krishna, or it may be the tune of Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. These music, this very pleasant, very smooth, very harmonious, very elevating kind of music started coming in. So there is one musician called Burton Green. He is sharing with Satsvarup Maharaj that we musicians were becoming influenced by the music of the temple. And slowly, without our own consciousness, we were becoming spiritualized internally. So like that, Prabhupada's influence was multidimensional. Some things were visible, some things were not visible, but it was happening. Then, evening kirtan in the temple, we know, every evening there is a kirtan in the temple. And that became really big because every day they make music in the park, right? And after seeing the park, and they distribute flyers, and then more and more people are coming to the temple. Evening, it is becoming crowded. And Brahmananda says he would stand by the side of the door and he would see people walking in. Much before Prabhupada comes down for the class, hippies would come, half of them fully drugged. They would come and occupy whatever space is available in the hall, and they would be simply sitting. And more people would come. They will not have place inside. They will stand outside. There will be a crowd outside. That much evening kirtans became famous. And when Prabhupada starts the kirtan, they will become totally absorbed into that music. But after the kirtan, Prabhupada will have a class. As soon as the kirtan is over, class starts, half the crowd will disappear. Half the crowd will listen. And even as Prabhupada is speaking, another half will go away. So only the more serious disciples and devotees would stay. Other people came only for the kirtan. Now you can understand. There is hardly any philosophy in their head. There is no love for Krishna or anything in their head. They are simply getting attracted by this music. They want to hear this music. They want to repeat this music. As Prabhupada sings the tunes, they want to sing back half an hour along with their musical instruments and whatever. They enjoy that. Even 1 hour of kirtan in the evening. But there is no interest in the class. That means the Mahamantra is working inside them. Prabhupada knew. Prabhupada was not at all unhappy that they are not sitting for the class. He is happy they are coming. You remember when the New York Times made an article about Srila Prabhupada with big photographs and all that. Prabhupada was more attracted to the Mahamantra which was printed in the paper. Is it New York Times, a big newspaper? And everyone who reads this article will read the Mahamantra fully. And Prabhupada was happy about it. And even here, even though their mood is not like that, these boys are still breaking all regulative principles. They have not become serious followers. They don't know the philosophy. They don't want to know the philosophy. Still, they are attracted by the Mahamantra. And they like to sing. And Prabhupada was happy. So this was going. And Allen Ginsberg was coming more regularly to the kirtans. And one day, he brought a rock band called Fugs. These people are very famous among the hippies. Why? Because they make the strongest statement in terms of breaking all the rules. Free sex was their main theme. Boys and girls should have no restrictions. They should just enjoy 24 hours, drug themselves and have sex. This was the theme of their music also. Very loud music. And they were very famous. Very famous. And the devotees of Srila Prabhupada, who are in the temple, now living in the temple, they also know this group. Because they were hippies till yesterday. And when they saw Ginsberg brought this group, they became very thrilled. These are very great pop singers. If they are coming to our temple will become more popular. And if they say something more favorably about us, or better still, if they become devotees, then we will become famous all over the world. So like that, the devotees are thinking. But what happened? The Fugs came. When Prabhupada did kirtan, they also made music with their guitar and everything. And people were looking at them. But after the kirtan was over, when class started, Prabhupada started talking to them. And Prabhupada spoke strongly against sex. Prabhupada said, sex means no spiritual progress. Sex is the greatest obstacle for making spiritual progress. There should be regulation of the sex instinct among man and woman. The attraction between man and woman should be controlled by the process of marriage. Outside of marriage, having relationship is a violation of the law of God, and they cannot make spiritual progress. He spoke like that. All the devotees were shocked. They thought Prabhupada will be a little gentle on them because, they told Prabhupada, they are very famous people. If they become favorable to us, we can spread our mission very fast. But Prabhupada spoke plainly. And these people, after listening to this, Prabhupada speaking against sex and drugs, they left and they never returned. And when they spoke about this to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada simply shrugged. Prabhupada said, I cannot change the philosophy for these people. The philosophy is what it is. It's not for me to change it, and I'm not going to change it. In the same meeting, Steve Goldsmith, you will remember, he's the one who registered ISKCON. He's an attorney, a Jewish attorney, very wealthy man, married with children, very favorable to ISKCON. He also asked questions. He's saying, Swamiji, there is a natural attraction between man and woman. It cannot be denied. So how can you put this kind of restriction? Is it not artificial? Prabhupada said, yes, what you say is true. And that is why in every civilized society, there is a system of marriage. To have a relationship outside marriage will reduce you to the level of an animal. This instinct is real. We have to respect that. And that's why marriage. And a man and a woman should live together as husband and wife. And for a husband, even for a married husband, to look at the wife as a machine for his enjoyment is also not correct. They should have a relationship only to produce God conscious children. If it is not for producing children, one should not have sex. Prabhupada spoke very strongly. And again, when the devotees commented about that, he said, this is the philosophy. I cannot change it for the Americans. Americans may have different ideas, but I cannot change it. Then Hayagriva, laughingly, he made a comment. Then better forget the whole thing. And Prabhupada also laughed and he said, yes, that is a good boy. That is a good boy. So that is what Prabhupada is doing. Prabhupada has not gone to America taking so much trouble to give a compromised, diluted philosophy. No, he has gone there to transplant a piece of Vedic life into America. He has gone there to give the authentic, original, which is not there in India also. He has gone to give that in America. So that's what Prabhupada said. And those devotees who have taken initiation from Prabhupada, their respect for Prabhupada grew by leaps and bounds. Even though when they saw the thugs and all these people, famous people, but Prabhupada is artlessly kicking them away. Instead of trying to retain them and use them to bring publicity for ISKCON, he is very openly kicking them out. I don't want to. If you don't agree with my philosophy, I don't need you. But the respect is growing that Prabhupada is saying the same thing to everyone. That see, the regular disciples are observing Prabhupada 24 hours. He is the same 24 hours. And also, in the beginning, when there were nobody to listen to Srila Prabhupada, or today, when there are hundreds of people listening to him, he is the same thing. He has not changed. And what he says to one person is what he says to other person. It's completely authentic, completely bona fide, completely trustworthy. So their love for Prabhupada was growing by leaps and bounds. Love and respect was growing. So this is what, we were talking about the Chinese bamboo. For 7 years, it doesn't grow only. It remains underground. But underground, it is growing very strong, powerful roots. Now the love of these disciples to Prabhupada is going to be tested. We will see how much this love is working. We will see that. So Hayagriva makes a comment. He says, Prabhupada, psychologists like Freud and other people are saying that because of repression of sex only, there is war in the world. Because attraction of man to woman is natural, and if it is being repressed, that is being expressed in the form of wars, in the form of hatred, in the form of quarreling, fighting. Prabhupada immediately replied, wars are due to meat. Wars are only due to meat. Innocent animals, you are butchering them, slaughtering them in millions, and you are simply for the sake of your tongue, you are causing so much violence. And karma has to play out. You are accumulating karma. What is this karma? Large scale karma. You are slaughtering thousands of animals and feeding them in bulk to the population. So the entire community has to suffer. The entire nations must suffer. So it's not because of sex repression. If you see in India, a 5-year-old boy goes for Gurukul and he remains brahmachari till 25 years. Not today, not in today's India. Today's India is also as violent as the West. In those days, then there was proper Varnashrama system and there was a Gurukula system and there was Acharyas who were teaching Vedas in the Gurukuls. In those days, up to 25 years, they would be in Gurukul. They will not see anyone other than Guru and his wife. Guru and Guru Patni are the father and mother for them. And they are serving them. And they are learning. And they are learning that I am not the body, I am a spirit soul at the age of 5. At the age of 5, they are given the Gayatri Mantra and they are sent to the Gurukul to learn. And for 20 years and more, Guru is drilling into them, you are not the body. And the aim of your life is to separate the soul from the body. As long as your soul is locked, tangled up with your body, there is no liberation for you. And sex life is a very powerful entangler. Striyo pumsan maitini bhavameda. This attraction of sex life between man and woman is the biggest obstacle for spiritual emancipation and liberation. For 25 years, they hear that. And when they come back home, if they want, they can get married, which gives some license for sense gratification. But still, at the age of 50 or 55, they have to leave home. They have to leave home for spirituality. And they start living very simply. Whatever wealth they may have accumulated, they have to leave it behind and go. And then at the age of 70 or 75, the man goes alone, leaving his wife with the grown-up son to take care. And he goes alone, depending on God. And that's how he dies, completely depending on God. He goes as a Parivrajaka. He goes around giving Krishna consciousness to people. He doesn't depend on anybody. He doesn't depend on any wealth. He doesn't have any fixed place of residence. He walks through forests and jungles and dangerous places, depending on Krishna. And that is the final sannyasa stage. So this is what the key factor is. So Prabhupada said, large-scale meat eating, large-scale slaughtering is the cause of wars. Today you see how much wars are growing. And today you know how much the non-vegetarianism has become popular in India. Unbelievable. Sometimes the newspapers give statistics. I don't know how reliable. They say 80% and more of Indians have become meat eaters. They have achieved it from the time of independence, most probably. The Western mercenaries, the big business industrial houses, they were all encouraged because we had, unfortunately, a atheistic government calling itself secular. But we had an atheistic government. They had no respect for Vedas. So just what the Britishers had started, with a greater vengeance, they continued. All our educational institutions became secular. At least the minority institutions were religious, but anything else was secular. There was no Hindu institution, education institution, where you are giving religion along with the secular so-called knowledge. So that is why they say 80%. Can you believe it? I remember when I was a little younger, I have seen people, even meat eaters, would not eat meat on certain days of the week and certain months of the year, and also on some special days. Everybody knew meat eating was wrong. The non-vegetarians, born non-vegetarians, also knew it was wrong. When they eat meat, they will not visit the temple. When they eat meat, they will not touch Bhagavad Gita. I'm not saying right or wrong, but they knew meat eating was wrong. In today's India, it has become a fashion statement to eat meat, and without restriction. At least in those days, even regular non-vegetarians would not touch beef. But today, no distinction. Meat is meat. What difference does it make? I want to taste everything. So they go abroad only to taste different kinds of dishes. So this is what today is happening. But anyway, so Prabhupada made it clear, it is not repression of sex. Don't think by bringing out sex from the closet, by giving free run for everybody to have any which way, married or unmarried, inside marriage, outside marriage, day or night, whatever, any which way you want to do, that is only going to increase the problems. It is not going to reduce. It's a wrong argument, no, to say that you give freedom to people and they will lose interest in sex. It is not going to happen. It has not happened. We are seeing evidence everywhere. In that name, only pornography is being justified till today. Pornography, people want to see, expose them, then they will not have any interest. But actually what is happening, it is exploding. So anything negative should be controlled, and it is a job of the government. But today's government is elected government. So whatever people want, they should give. Otherwise, they'll be kicked out in the next elections. So you can see how democracy is fueling the growth of Kali. It is fueling the expansion of the Samrajya of Kali. That's what is happening. Anyway, so after this, the disciples, they were becoming a little more responsible. What is that? We must assist our Guru. Prabhupada never demands it, but they begin to realize it is our duty. Prabhupada is giving so much for us. And what does he want? He wants everybody to chant Hare Krishna. They have seen. The only desire Prabhupada has is I should make as many people chant Hare Krishna as possible. So these people thought, let us give opportunities for our Guru to preach. So they thought, why it should remain in Lower East Side? Let us take it to the heart of New York, where wealthy people, rich people, influential people, powerful people, let us take ISKCON there. So they hired a prestigious Judson Hall in the city. And they made wide publicity. They made handouts, they distributed everywhere in hotels, restaurants, residential apartments, on the streets. They had big bands going, marching around the city with huge banners. At the end of all this, they invited Prabhupada to speak in the hall. 7 people came. I don't know the capacity of the hall, maybe 500, maybe 1,000. 7 people attended. And in that, the first 15, 20 rows were empty seats. Somebody was sitting at the back, very casually reclining in the chair like that. One person after Prabhupada spoke, as usual. The devotees were all deserted. But Prabhupada acted as normal. He came to the stage, he gave a nice lecture. And one guy asked, Swamiji, your movement is for destitutes, right? People who have fallen out of society, people who have nothing, people who have orphaned, people who have nothing to, nobody to care for them. Your movement is for such people? He asked. And Prabhupada immediately replied, no, this movement is for everyone because God is the father of everyone. And anyone who has forgotten God is a destitute. If you forget God, if you forget the law of God, if you forget to love God, then you are a destitute in this world. You are suffering. Anyone who has forgotten God is in misery. And this movement is for everyone, like that Prabhupada answered. Then that meeting, everybody thought it is a flop. And when they were going back, Raya Rama, who was basically the brain behind it, he apologized to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, I am sorry. It did not somehow click. Prabhupada said, why do you say that? Did you not see Narada Muni was there? Lord Brahma was there? And so many demigods were there. And Prabhupada said, wherever we are glorifying the Lord, demigods attend. So he encouraged him not to feel disheartened. But after going back to the temple, Prabhupada told Raya Rama, he chastised him. Why did you give it free? It was free. Prabhupada said, why did you give it free? If you give it free, they will think it is cheap and they won't come. You should have charged a ticket. And Prabhupada said, in Calcutta, one man went distributing mangoes free to every house and people did not take. They thought there must be something there and they refused. And finally, he put a price on that, 1 rupee per mango. And then it was quickly sold out, the same mangoes. So Prabhupada said, you should charge them. If you give cheap, if you give free, they will take it as cheap. Then, one day they were sitting in the temple, and you remember Prabhupada is only playing on a bongo drum. Prabhupada doesn't have a mridanga yet. And you remember, when Prabhupada was 4 or 5 years old, his father bought a mridanga. And he appointed a mridanga teacher. And his mother was telling, why you buy a mridanga? His hands even cannot reach the 2 ends. But then, at that age, appointed a guru for him. And Prabhupada started playing mridanga from that age. And he still doesn't have mridanga. He's longing for a mridanga, but he doesn't have yet. Then, one day, somehow one boy came to the evening kirtan and he had a mridanga with him. I don't know whether it is mridanga or a dole, I don't know. Because it says 2-headed drum. Perhaps it is not yet a mridanga. It's a 2-headed drum, that's all. So the boy came with it. Prabhupada saw it. And he told the boy, can you give it to me? So the disciples went to him and said, you give it. That boy initially refused to give. But then he gave and Prabhupada took it. And very lovingly Prabhupada started playing that mridanga. And the devotees were again amazed. Everything about Prabhupada is amazing to them. The way he is dressing, the way he is speaking, the way he is walking, the way he is keeping his chin up, the way he gives lectures, the way he cooks, the way he trains them, the way he guides them. In everything, they have been impressed. There are so many incidents in the book. I will share here and there one or two things with you. But then Prabhupada started playing the drum from both sides. The devotees saw his expertise. So many new beats he was playing. And the visitors here are all musicians. And they all started appreciating, oh, there are such amazing ways of playing a two-headed drum. See, Americans don't have a two-headed drum. They play dun, 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 like that. One-headed drum. No, this is two-headed. And they were amazed how Prabhupada was playing. And soon, one man called Alan Coleman visited the temple. And he met Prabhupada. And he said, please permit me to make a record, gramophone record. In those days, all the musicians were making records. And top of the pops, etc., million records sold, 10 million records sold, like that. So he said, offered to make a record for Prabhupada. Prabhupada became immediately happy. Long back, you will remember one boy called David. He used to take Prabhupada around studios to try to make a record. It was not working. But now one record maker has come directly saying, I want to make a record. So Prabhupada immediately agreed. So one day, Prabhupada and all his disciples with whatever instruments, they had a harmonium, they had a piano kind of thing, and they had these kartals, and they had some other beating type percussion instruments. They all got into a van and they went to the studio. And in the studio, they made Prabhupada sit in the center. The engineers are sitting inside a glass cabin, and Prabhupada is sitting in the center. They put a mic for Prabhupada, and all the other disciples, they are not great musicians. Simply by joining with Prabhupada, they now know how Mahamantra Prabhupada sings, and they know how to make the beats. And someone is playing the harmonium, but not the buttons, just harmonium like a Shruti box, just to make wham, 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 like that. He's playing that. So everybody said, the engineers arranged everybody, and they said, Prabhupada to start. And Prabhupada started from Vandeham, Sri Guru, always offering respect to the Guru Parampara. And then Prabhupada started Kirtan, and the boys responded, and the engineers from inside the glass cabin were hearing. And it went on, went on, went on, went on, went on. The speed slowly increased, and finally Prabhupada brought it to a stop, and only the harmonium was playing like that. And the Alan came out from the glass cabin and congratulated Prabhupada. Very good, it has come very nicely. Now, would you like to speak for a few minutes? Prabhupada had already prepared a speech, that will also go into the record. So, can you speak? Are you tired? Because it was late night, it was around 11 o'clock. He said, if you are tired, we can have it another day. Prabhupada said, no, I am ready. So Prabhupada read out that speech. That was also recorded. And then again, Coleman came. With respect, he told Prabhupada, everything is done. We still have a 10-minute gap. Would you like to sing something? So for those 10 minutes, Prabhupada again sang the entire Guru Parampara songs. And the boys were all sitting around and watching. Of course, already they are becoming sleepy also. It is almost midnight. Prabhupada sang everything. And it was all recorded. Again, Alan came out and congratulated. It's all done. Thank you very much. And then Prabhupada said, I am tired. For the first time, Prabhupada said, I am tired. And then what happened? They started playing back the recording. Whatever they have recorded, they played back, the engineers. Immediately, Prabhupada stood up. His eyes became wide and he started dancing to the kirtan. And the boys, they were already tired, but they were shocked to see their guru stand up and dance. Everybody got up and they all started dancing inside the studio only. And the engineers from behind the glass, they were watching. They also stood up and they also started dancing. So like that, the whole atmosphere became completely spiritualized. And Prabhupada told Alan Coleman, you have made the best record of your life. And then they left, they returned to the temple. Next day morning, it's till midnight. Next day morning, Kirtanananda noticed that Prabhupada is not up. Prabhupada has not got up. He's still in his room. Became very worried. Prabhupada was completely exhausted. Exhaustion. After 1.5 years of being in America, a grueling daily routine. Exhaustion. Prabhupada said, I'm having palpitations also. No appetite. Prabhupada did not get up for food till noon. But after noon, Prabhupada got up, he took his bath, he had his prasadam. It looked like everything had become normal. But Kirtanananda realized he's an old man. He's a spiritual man, and we have taken it for granted. He always showed energy. Whether it was his smile, whether it was his kirtan, whether it was the way he kept his chin up while walking, whether it was the way he sat in the park playing the drum for hours on end and singing at the top of his voice, or the way he sat in his room morning to night, allowing anybody to come inside, have a debate, argument, questions and answers. Prabhupada was always available to them. Or to have huge feasts when Prabhupada would cook for so many people, or to guide them, train them. Prabhupada was always available. So they thought, he's a spiritual man. He will be there forever. Nothing will happen to him. So now Kirtanananda was worried, and he was sharing with some of the other disciples that we have to take care of Swamiji. We have neglected him. But suddenly everything became normal. Prabhupada became like usual. And that day, from Mukunda, one letter came. The letter said, we are trying to set up a temple in San Francisco. Prabhupada became immediately enlivened. Prabhupada said, I will go to San Francisco. I will go to open this temple. And these boys were looking around, amazed at the energy of Prabhupada. When it comes to serving Krishna, there is no line drawn anywhere. Every drop of energy till the last moment is for Krishna. It should not be wasted for any other purpose. It is for Krishna only. We have seen the final lesson of Srila Prabhupada. For 6 months, Prabhupada had not taken any food. But Jayadvaita Maharaj is holding a dictaphone to Prabhupada's mouth. Prabhupada is lying on the bed. Eyes are closed. But somebody is reading the book and Prabhupada is giving purports. Last ounce of energy. That is the final lesson Prabhupada gave. So Prabhupada became full of energy. And he started explaining to the boys his plans. What are his plans? We want to have temples all over the USA. But not only USA. We want temples in every continent of the world. Prabhupada achieved it, mind you. Prabhupada in his time achieved it. We want temples in all continents, including Russia and China. And we want to have more books. We don't have enough books. When we have more and more books, they will respect us more and more. We will become a more bona fide religion. Now they are seeing us as a cult, Hare Krishna cult. But they have to realize we are a bona fide Vedic culture. We are a way of life. So we need more books. And Prabhupada said, Bhagavad Gita, I have already prepared. That has to be printed. Then Bhagavatam in 60 volumes we have to print. Then Chaitanya Charitamrita, maybe 20 volumes or so, that has to be printed. And then teachings of Lord Chaitanya and so many things, Nectar of Devotion, so many Acharya books we have to translate. And not just translate it to English. It must be available in every language of the world so we can flood the world with this devotional literature. And then Prabhupada said, also, I will take a group of devotees from here to India. Because how can I forget India? India has lost its Vedic culture. Now I will take a group of devotees from here. And then Prabhupada has not forgotten India, not for a moment. That is his plan. Because India is the center of the spiritual world. It is the center of spiritual culture, Vedic culture. So how can we forget India? So that's Prabhupada's plan. So the devotees were amazed. They thought the temple will not go out of Lower East Side. Forget about New York. They thought this is our temple, 22nd Avenue. And Swamiji will be with us always. He will be helping us, he'll be guiding us, he'll be teaching us. We have to serve him and our life will go on with our love feast and all these things. Kirtan in the park, coming back, having Kirtan in the temple. No, Prabhupada's much bigger plans. Even when he was in Jhansi, if you remember, he started League of Devotees. That League of Devotees was meant to train brahmacharis and send them all over the world for preaching. Nothing has changed for Prabhupada. From the time he took the instruction of his guru at the age of 26, nothing has changed. It is the same thing. So let us see now what happens. On November 19th. So this is which year? Can anyone recollect which year are we talking about? November 19th.
1974, Prabhuji.
Come on, where are you?
77, 76,
No. Prabhupada went to America in 1965.
65. Okay. So this must be 66. Prabhuji.
That's all. This is 1966. Prabhupada left in the month of September 1965. And this is November 1966. That's all. 1 year and 2 months or 3 months like that. Right? So now he has already, serious disciples. He has his first temple. His ISKCON society is registered. Ready. Now primed for a explosive growth. Suddenly Prabhupada brings a new book to the class. This is the morning class. Morning, the more serious devotees will assemble in the room of Srila Prabhupada. And for half an hour, Prabhupada is giving classes on Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam. And now he has brought a new book. And now the winter has come, you see, November. And the book says, New York closes down in winter. Morning and evening, quickly the streets get deserted. And so now this morning class, Prabhupada is starting. Outside, the roads are all completely quiet. And not many people are visiting temple also. Now it has become cold. So only the more serious devotees are regularly coming. And one interesting incident happened. What happened was, in the morning kirtan, the boys became enthusiastic and they started singing loudly. Prabhupada said, softly. But they were singing loudly. Within a little time, there was stomping overhead. Somebody was jumping on the floor. And very soon, water started flowing down from one place, two place, three place. Water started like rain. Prabhupada said, quickly go and bring some vessels, collect the water, and don't make noise. The man upstairs is very angry that his sleep is being disturbed. So sing very softly. So you imagine under what constraints. All the co-tenants in the building were not very cooperative. The landlord was a Polish person. Prabhupada handled him nicely, giving him a lot of respect, and he reciprocated the respect. But he had no respect for the hippies. But Prabhupada told his devotees, call him as your father. So these boys would always say, we are like your sons. So they maintained a good relationship with him. But with the other tenants, time and again there would be problems. But Prabhupada would say, go and give everybody prasadam. So they were happy to receive prasadam. So, but this early morning noise was not welcome. So they would make very quiet music, morning kirtan. And then the boys would be ready. As I said earlier, they would take bath and be ready for the class at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. Most of the boys are living here. There are some boys who are coming from outside. And Jadurani is the only woman devotee. You remember, he made her the painter. She started painting for Prabhupada. She would sit in the temple and paint for Prabhupada. Prabhupada would tell her how to paint. Mainly pictures of Mahavishnu she was painting at that time. Prabhupada would tell her exactly how. This girl, if you remember, Prabhupada asked her in the first meeting, where do you live? She said, I'm very near. So you can come daily? And she said, yes. At that time, she was in a little bit of drugs. But then she thought, I have committed to Prabhupada, I will come daily. I should come. So she was living 1.5 hours away from this temple. But every day she would come. Her parents would protest, but somehow she will get up very early, have bath, and travel all the way, and she will come. She was the only girl she was attending sincerely morning, evening classes. She was a postgraduate student of, I think, psychology or history, something like that. She started, so she was the only girl who was attending. 6:30 class would start, and Prabhupada would first chant one mala. They would all chant together. Prabhupada will hold the mala up in his hand and move the beads, and the boys would also imitate him. One round with full concentration, they would chant. Remaining rounds, they will chant in their respective places. But Prabhupada would be watching everybody, and Prabhupada was very happy to see the boys chanting with a lot of seriousness and concentration. Then Prabhupada started the CC class. Chaitanya Charitamrita Prabhupada started now. November 1966. Prabhupada started the story of Sanatana Goswami. How Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami were serving under Nawab Zain Shah and how they resigned their jobs. How Rupa Goswami escaped. But Sanatana Goswami got arrested and he was in the jail. How he bribed the jail keeper by giving 25,000 gold coins and then he escaped. So how he went to a inn and the innkeeper was planning to murder Sanatana Goswami because he has an astrologer. That astrologer always tells the innkeeper that this man is having gold like that. So he told Sanatan Goswami is having gold. But actually Sanatan Goswami was not having any gold. But he had one servant with him. So Sanatan Goswami noticed that the innkeeper is giving too much respect to him. Too much respect is a dangerous thing. Too much respect. So Sanatan Goswami had a doubt. So he asked his servant, are you carrying anything valuable? He said, yes, I am carrying 7 gold coins. He said, oh, you are carrying death. Give it to me. And he went to the innkeeper and said, sir, I am having 7 gold coins. Please take it. Immediately the innkeeper said, oh, thank you very much. We were planning to murder you tonight. By turning in the gold, you have saved your life. But my astrologer told me there are 8 gold coins. You have given only 7. Again, Sanatan Goswami went to his servant. He said, yeah, I am keeping 1 gold coin. Maybe we will need. He snatched it and gave it to the innkeeper. And he said, please help me to cross this forest by tomorrow. So the innkeeper very happily agreed. So like this story was going, half an hour only, Prabhupada would stop. Very interesting time, Prabhupada would stop. Then the boys will be talking among themselves. After this, they will go for breakfast prasadam. Very simple breakfast prasadam. They will sit around, including Jadurani. All these people will take prasadam. Jadurani will eat her breakfast very quietly. The boys will be talking among themselves, basically about Swamiji, basically about the classes, basically about Krishna consciousness. And they would eat. And then some boys will get dressed up to go to office. Coat, suit, tie, they would transform. They will go to office. They are going to office. The boys who are staying in the temple, the salary they will give it to Prabhupada. Satsvarupa resigned his job. He came to Prabhupada, I resigned. Prabhupada said, no, you cannot resign. Take it back. Join, we need money for the temple. You work and give me the salary. Brahmananda was doing the same thing. And there are 2 boys. One is Dan, who became Damodara. And then this Rupanuga, who was Bob, who started 32 rounds right away. These 2 people were family men. But every day morning, they would come to temple for 6:30 program. And from there, they will go to work. Right? So this is the kind of transformation that Prabhupada has brought. And right then, when Prabhupada was giving the Chaitanya Charitamrita classes, recording started. The big spool recorder, Brahmananda was in charge. And they started recording. Till date, we have unlimited recordings of Srila Prabhupada available, all thanks to his American disciples. So meticulously recorded so many things. What Prabhupada spoke, even in the morning walks, what Prabhupada spoke, room conversations, what Prabhupada spoke, and whatever recordings Prabhupada, lectures Prabhupada give, everything is recorded. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So we are having all these things. We owe a lot of gratitude to Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Okay. So now the list of names, some of the names, Kirtanananda, Brahmananda, Achyutananda, Gargamuni is Brahmananda's younger brother, 18 years old. Satsvarupa, Hayagriva, Umapati, Jadurani, 19 years old. Rupanuga, Damodara, they are in the 23, 24, like that. Their lives have been completely transformed. Can you imagine? They were all hippie types till recently. Some of them married, but still hippie mentality. They were experimenting with drugs. They were having no regulation in their life. Meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling was common. They had no meaning in life, no purpose in life, no goal in life. They lived in a wayward way, no regulated living for them. But now how much they have transformed. In a few months only, they have transferred the center of their life to Srila Prabhupada. The center of the life till now was sense enjoyment. Sense gratification was the center. I was the center. My body was the center. Sense gratification. Now that center has been transferred to Srila Prabhupada. Now their life is revolving around Srila Prabhupada and 26 Second Avenue Temple. They are constantly thinking Prabhupada, constantly thinking how I can serve him. And one smile on Srila Prabhupada's face was the success of life for them. So they will be constantly meditating how we can make Prabhupada happy. And they knew we have to bring devotees. We have to make more devotees. We have to make people chant the Mahamantra. And we have to create facilities for preaching. And they realized, and they were always doing that. So some of the boys had already moved into the temple. And Satsvarupa was having a quarters outside. He announced Any of the disciples can come and use my room also. He opened out his room also. And Dan and Bob, they had family life, so they were coming from their respective homes. Others had moved in. They were willing to give up their jobs, but because Prabhupada said, they kept the job. So they would work from morning to evening, and the salary check will be given to Srila Prabhupada. There are some very interesting stories of how Brahmananda or Rupanuga, they would beg Prabhupada for some money for taxi fare to go to office. Prabhupada would say, why you need taxi? Take public transport. Then there will be a discussion, argument, how much time it takes by public transport to go. I'll have to miss your morning class, etc. Then, all right, very grudgingly, he will give the fare for it. Nothing. They kept nothing for themselves. The paycheck will be handed over to Prabhupada. Look at this. So don't take them cheaply as hippies. They are extraordinary souls. They have taken birth for this specific purpose. By all Krishna's right. Krishna knows when the disciple is ready, Guru appears. So that's what we are seeing here. And there is a story of Mr. Price. I will discuss it more elaborately in the next session. Mr. Price was a real estate broker. He somehow got in touch with these boys. Prabhupada was very interested in buying a temple. Even when the boys took him to some of the halls for giving lecture, Prabhupada's aim was, can I buy this hall for a ISKCON temple? $1 lakh was Prabhupada's budget. Don't think he had the money. He did not have the money. Prabhupada had very little money, but his budget was $1 lakh. He was looking, whenever he goes to some place, he'll think whether this building is suitable, that building is suitable. So the disciples knew Prabhupada is interested. So the real estate broker got in touch with them. Mr. Price, dressed in very costly clothes, very effeminate looking. And he would call Prabhupada, Your Excellency. Prabhupada immediately had a doubt. Oh, he's too much respectful. He is calling Prabhupada Your Excellency. Prabhupada knew there is something he's planning. So he warned his disciple, take care of this man. I don't trust him. Take care, deal with him carefully. But because the building he was offering was a very good building of somebody else, belongs to somebody else, Prabhupada was interested. He cautioned these people, be careful. Don't part with 1 shilling to this man. 1 pence also, don't give it to this man. Be very, very careful. So, but these negotiations were going on. We will come to that in the next session. What happened subsequently, we will see that. That particular building, Prabhupada was interested. Again, $1 lakh. So this man was telling, I will get it for you, no problem. You just bring $5,000 and I will see to it that the building will come to you. I will arrange some financier. Your mission is so beautiful. Your guru is so wonderful. All your people are such serious devotees. I should help you. It is the goal of my life that I should help you. Somehow that building, like that, Brahmananda was becoming very impressed because this man was living in a posh house. Very, very wealthy man. So we will come to that actually. But Prabhupada was constantly warning them because these are all young boys. They don't know the world. Okay. So the Chaitanya Charitamrita class, Prabhupada continued for 2 months. And Satsvarupa Goswami Maharaj writes, when Sanatana Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for 2 months, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him class on Krishna consciousness. For 2 months, very long time, he was given classes. And same way, 2 months for these boys, Srila Prabhupada took Chaitanya Charitamrita classes. Sanatana Goswami's episode. So you can see how things are working out. So Lord Chaitanya is teaching to Sanatana Goswami, being taught. Constantly the boys are afraid anytime Prabhupada will leave. Because Mukunda has already written that we are trying to build a temple and reports are coming time and again. That plans are afoot. We are trying to find a storefront for you, similar to New York, in Los Angeles, San Francisco. And interestingly, what was happening was, San Francisco was becoming the capital of hippies. First we were saying New York, a lot of hippies were there, and that is where Prabhupada went. But now, another huge hippie migration was happening in San Francisco on a scale much bigger than New York. And they were all coming to a place called Haight-Ashbury in the San Francisco Bay Area, near the seashore side. Hundreds and thousands of hippies, young boys, all in the age group of 15 to 20, they were coming. And the police and the civic authorities, the government, they were unable to manage these people. They are all drug addicts. They are falling all over the place. They are taking to de-addiction places. They are fully malnourished because they don't have food for days together. They are falling all over the place. And the police, they are giving up. They are not able to handle that. In this scenario, in the Haight-Ashbury, the same area, Mukunda located a place for the temple, a storefront. Similar storefront, ground floor storefront, and in the next building, on the second floor, Prabhupada quarters, exactly like New York. So I will go into the story next week. But anyway, the temple is getting ready and Mukunda is inviting along with the ticket. Ticket also you sent. Please, Prabhupada, come. So here New York devotees are not at all happy because Mukunda is telling, not only we are inaugurating a temple, but we are having a mantra rock dance festival. Mantra rock dance festival. Mantra is Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we know. Rock dance means that, anti-establishment, loud, hateful, anger-filled music combined in a place called Avalon Ballroom in San Francisco. They are arranging. He said, you are the center of attraction in that ballroom, rock dance festival, Prabhupada, you will be the center. There will be Kirtan. And then all these bands will play. And we have invited all the bands. They are all very favorable to us. For a nominal fee, they are going to play. And we are going to put tickets and we will be able to raise funds for the temple. So everything, by now the boys know exactly what Prabhupada wants. And Mukunda has gone from here. In San Francisco, all the others they have not seen Prabhupada. But they have heard about Prabhupada from Mukunda and Janaki. And everybody is eager for Prabhupada to come. All hippies. So that story will unfold next week. So here New York people are not eager to let Swami go. You remember, Swamiji came to 26 Second Avenue when? Barely 5-6 months back. And these boys are all new, untrained. Just now they are getting the hang of it. They have got initiated, they have started chanting, they know how to cook. A few things they know. They want Swamiji, but Swamiji wants to go to far away on the west coast. So they are worried. But Prabhupada is eager, determined, detached. I have done what I have to do for you. Now you should carry on. Not that without me this temple will not function. This is a temple. And you are the devotees in the temple. You are my disciples. You must run it. That is the mood of Prabhupada. I'll be there to guide you, but I cannot be always with you. Krishna consciousness is the purpose. It has to spread. And I have the call of duty. I must go. That is the mood of Prabhupada. So he's detached. He's ready to leave New York. See, in a few months only for a few months, Prabhupada has been there in 26 7th Avenue and it has grown so much. Prabhupada should not want to leave, right? If I were in that place, I would want to develop it further. Now only it is growing nicely. How can I leave them? They are all raw hands. Till yesterday, hippies. Prabhupada is a surrendered person. He knows what Krishna wants will happen. If Krishna wants it should sustain, it will sustain. If Krishna wants it should wind up, it will wind up. But I am here. I am doing the bidding of the Lord. So Prabhupada is ready to do. So now first week of January. Now remember it is still the peak of winter, correct? 1967, first week of January. One more letter from Mukunda. Now this time, Pakka. If the temple is ready, please come. So ticket is there. Prabhupada is preparing to go. And one more boy called Ranachoda. He's an American only. Now whatever names they give, they are initiated names. American. This boy is 19 years old. They wanted someone to go with Prabhupada. And it was announced that whoever can collect enough money to buy a ticket to San Francisco can go with Prabhupada. So somehow this boy, 19 years old, somehow he collected the money, he got the ticket, so he became secretary of Prabhupada in that trip. So he sat with Prabhupada on that flight that goes to San Francisco. So it's again, as I said, storefront temple in Haight-Ashbury, Frederick Street. And it's called the Gathering of Tribes. So all kinds of bands, it's all a hippie program for drugs and marijuana, LSD and uncontrolled sex and dancing, music. This is what was planned. So despite the objection of all the boys in New York temple, Swamiji was keen to go and he did go. So Srila Prabhupada is ready to go. And this is the second, his winter in USA. First winter was in New York. Second winter, half in New York, which is colder. Now he's going to San Francisco, where the weather is a little more pleasant. And Swamiji was sitting in the same seat in New York temple, where there is a trunk in front of him, where he does his translation work. That is like the podium. Prabhupada sits in the small cushion. The trunk will be in front of him, covered with a cloth, and the others will be sitting, audience will be sitting in front of him. This has been Prabhupada's daily routine. Now Prabhupada is sitting in the same place, but now there is no class, there is no translation. Prabhupada is simply chanting, waiting for the taxi to come to take him to the airport. So all the boys in anticipation, oh, Prabhupada is going to leave, the sense of separation, everyone is feeling. So temple is very quiet. Someone has gone to fetch the taxi, and the taxi has come. There is no farewell party. There is no speech making. Prabhupada leaves with one suitcase, 2 dhotis, and the manuscripts on which he is working. The rest of the done manuscripts, it's all here in the temple. And he told each person he allotted responsibility. Somebody is a treasurer, somebody is a temple manager, somebody is in charge of the housekeeping. All these 18, 19, 20-year-old boys are doing all these jobs, and Prabhupada is leaving. Those boys who have gone to work, they were at work only. Even as Prabhupada left, how much their heart would have tried that I want to be there when Prabhupada is going. But then, no, duty is more important. They are at work. So they were not there even to see Prabhupada. And Prabhupada simply left without any fanfare and without any attachment to what he has created. Yeah, your temple he has created in such a short time. But without any attachment, Prabhupada is leaving. So we will see the rest of it in next week, what happens in San Francisco. I had kept one YouTube link here, but I don't know when I play, it is not playing. This is Prabhupada doing Kirtan in the park. So I will try again. If it plays, we are lucky. It plays for me, but I don't know. It is not playing for the audience. I will just try it this time once again. If I can share it. Are you seeing anything?
No, Prabhuji.
Anything at all? No.
Yes,
I-
Prabhuji. Kirtan explodes in Golden Gate Park.
Yeah,
And
but the video is not coming, no?
No.
Video is,
No, Prabhuji.
yeah, I
Prabhuji,
think that
you can just copy that link and put it in the chat,
do.
Prabhuji, if it is possible.
I'll do. Yeah. Now I will put it in the group. I'll put it in the group. It is playing so nicely for me. The Prabhupada is dancing in the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, surrounded by hippies. And everyone is so joyfully singing along. I will put the link in the group so you can all enjoy it.
When you explain it like this, we want to see it, Prabhuji, right now.
Yeah. I really want.
Already your explanation is running in front of our eyes, Prabhuji. You're enjoying so much and explaining that we are able to feel each and every thing happening in front of us. It was so beautiful, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Only I know how badly I am doing. But thank you very much for your appreciation. The book is such an amazing book. Every word is filled with feelings, spiritual emotions. I am trying my best. I am never satisfied. It's not possible for me to do complete justice. So anyway, thank you very much. So we come to the end of today's session. We'll meet again tomorrow. I am sorry about the sudden change in timings. Is it okay? Can you all join in this time?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you. So I think the number of audience has not dropped. It is maintained.
But-
So
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. But those who are working won't be able to join, like
I know.
Prabhuji.
But anyway, I have recorded